what's happening is it's melting at a very, very fast rate. And I mean, there's no doubt about it. You talk to the older guides that we met, they'll tell you that there's less and less snow and less ice up in these areas, which is worrying. That's a water mill, which is still in service, little stream running underneath it, and you see the stone, and it's milling away, and the flour pouring into both sides of it. Your yaks and your knacks. And I hope this works, because it was very good, quite interesting. I had a feeling since I plugged in. Yeah. No, sorry, we're out of luck. I'll just show you a few. If you let's see what the animal showed them to you. That was one of the large mountains we reviewed from Cherpuri, which we trekked up. And this is Cherpuri there, so they're going up, and that's it up there. It's quite a long way around before we get up to it. And obviously we're into our crampons after a while to speed things up. So I don't think I'll try this, but the feeling we're just planjacks to all these. I loaded them up, just I started, and whatever I plugged in seems to have killed it. No, okay. And here we are, heading back down to the bank tanks. Another yak. And now, in a couple of hours, obviously you've got rid of your crampons, you're straight into normal track, and we made very, very fast progress that day. Now, one thing also that worries me is you can see in lots of areas where the generation of the trees is a major factor, because they're using fuel, having to use fuel for cooking. But I think what is encouraging to know about Nepal is that it's like Bhutan. Bhutan exports its electricity, its HE electricity to India. And in Nepal, I think in some years' time, we'll be doing the same. And I think that will be absolutely brilliant for the country. It's going to improve the country so much, and it'll stop so much use of trees for fuel. There's another, just a lovely photograph of the means which they do their agriculture. And this is up on the Tibet border. And I just took a photograph of it because you can see that on the Chinese side, the building is enormous building. So it's changing I suppose the whole situation up there. There's a lot of money obviously the Chinese side, much less on the Nepalese side. So it's very, very commercialized about it. That's the old side, that's the Nepalese side, this is where you put your rifles through to fire at the enemy as it were. The Duke as well, fellas carrying all their that's taken out of the car window. And you see lots of that. You saw some of them on some of the other slides as well. Really fascinating shots. And these are the ladies. And what really fascinating is that the women carry exactly the same weight as the men most of the time, including concrete blocks, sand, vegetables, whatever it is, trees. So, that first part of the slideshow I just showed you, that's what Dana thought we would do in our 3 weeks over there. But no, we did it in 2 weeks. So this is why he organised, while we were still finishing our climb, he organised us with a flight to Pokhara from Kathmandu to sample Annapurna. So you're all quite familiar with it. And that's not going to work, I'm afraid. You can see, obviously using lots of solar panels. But what I found very interesting about this area, Annapurna, is where the Gurkha soldiers mainly come from. So there's a lot of money going into it. It's like a ski resort in comparison to Helambu or Langtang or Guzheng Kund. It's just not as developed. Well, this reminded me of more like a ski resort. It's so busy, very busy. We got the rain, and we're laughing at Dana who brought his umbrella, but he was very, very wise to bring it, I think. And that's just, I just photographed to give you an idea of the difference. It's much more lush, I thought, of Annapurna, more moist, humid, more jungle-like, I suppose, in a way. And this is where we stayed in Jirapani, and this particular place in Jirapani is owned by a retired army officer from the Gurkha regiment, who has obviously put all his money into it, and his pension into it, because it's a fantastic, it had the feeling, I've spent 2 years with British forces in England, and when they walked in there, it was like walking into an army officer's mess. It was amazing, the building. It was really quite fascinating. So a big, big difference to where we were on the other side. Poon Hill, I'll show you at the end, I can do it at the end. I have a nice clip of the sunrise there, which you'll enjoy. This is us coming back down, having been up the tower. That tower up there is where it was built in memory of one of their ministers and another former army officer who set up a search and rescue service. He died of his liver failure quite young, and so they built this in his honour. I'll show you this at the end, okay, because obviously there's a technical glitch. This is coming down into Tatapani, I think, and you can see it's an old-fashioned one. One of the older ones we came across with timber. It was actually quite slippy because it was raining. You see it there, it's got our hood up. It's raining, it's quite warm. And there we are, that was a stupa near Chitra. And this is the road from Tatapani. We're going back down to Kathmandu in a four-wheel drive because it was pretty rough stuff. Back down to Pokhara, and this is a Dunga, which we went out on the lake, and if you just see here, that's the stupa, the stupa built by the Japanese government. I'll show you that photograph in a second. And we went out in our Dunga, and then you walk up from the lake up to the stupa. You can walk the whole way back down into the towns. That was an interesting little adventure because I'm much happier on water than I am on mountains. That was interesting. We just saw that from the stupa there, the Lenin stupa, and it's a funeral procession. You can see that they're bringing the body down to the waters to where they'll be incinerated. And there it is, the pagoda stupa, built by the Japanese government. It's a very beautiful building. And there's it there, myself dressed up in our Japanese costumes. That's in red bus. And we went to the museum, I mentioned it earlier on. Their museum is absolutely fascinating. It's a huge museum, enormous. I don't think we haven't got any museum the size of it in Ireland. Just purely to do with mountain climbing and mountaineering, and it was fascinating. We spent well over half a day there, and you could have spent longer there. Absolutely great experience. A place well worth visiting. And then we went to the Gurkha Museum because of our interest in the Gurkha regiments, and I learned a lot. Fascinating people. And that is one of the flight services we took back from Pokhara back to Kathmandu. I think they described it as like one of those cigar, those aluminium cigar tubes. It was literally like, you're crawling into it. It was a very, very small plane. But anyway, we got there in one piece, which is the main thing. There's seven national airlines. There are 7 national airlines. I won't be able to show you that because it'll get me a problem. So we spent our last 2 days in, sorry, I've got that photograph. That photograph is the wrong way around, in Bhaktapur. It shouldn't be Patana, it should be Bhaktapur. I got that one the wrong way around. I worked in this late last night. And of course, we had never still didn't find our Yeti, which we went hunting for. So, anybody who's interested, I put up a few of the websites there. Donna did mention to me on the phone that you've got 33 peaks that you can obviously climb or trek on. This is his own email address if anybody wants to talk to him. But I noticed at this stage the people I'm close to are people who know him anyway. I think the public at this stage have left us. So thank you very much. I'm just going to show you. I'll show you Poon Hill for those who've never seen it at daybreak. It won't take me long to pick it up. Okay, hopefully it will work this time. So that was Poon Hill. You see the fishtail there in the background? But it's about 4:30 in the morning. Or no, it's more, about 5 o'clock in the morning at this stage. But it's a pretty impressive sight. You see the sunrise come up on Poon Hill. You'll see in a second, there's about 400 people, I suppose, up there, or 400 people up there. And they all got up quite early, and of course, Dana had us under pressure that day. He wanted to obviously do more. So we passed out, I'd say, 200 people on the way up. He went at such a pace. And Adair was beginning to, I think it was the first time she actually started feeling the symptoms of AMS. But anyway, she survived. She survived. This is the tower. And you can see there's quite a lot of people down there. And the tower is a chock a block of people, obviously, as well. That's just a small little normal camera, it's not a video camera, obviously we're trapping light all the time. So our cameras are nothing special, they're pretty normal stuff. But it sort of gives a sense of what the dome was like. And a lot of very happy people. And it's the wonderful thing about Nepal, they're a very, very happy race, they're lovely people to get on with. They'll always keep a smile on your face. You can see the snow being blown off the tops of the summits there. There was no wind where we were because it was so much lower. Obviously at 8,000 feet there's a considerable amount of wind up there. There's snow blowing off the peaks. And the other interesting one you might like to see, which is very, very short, which I thought was quite interesting, experience was up in Langtang. Just bear with me. We took several thousand photographs. There it is, I think. Okay, to give you a laugh. A little bit of culture. This is an annual gathering. It's Tibetan, obviously, people. And they come together once a year, like in a religious service, where they vote who's going to be the representatives in the village of and who look after the religious services throughout for the year, the celebrations that they all take part in. So there's lots of voting, and apparently Sut was telling us, or Guy was telling us last year, when they finished this, there was a big fight outside because somebody was very upset that they weren't voted in, because there's a lot of wine being drunk here at the moment, as you can see. And they were very generous, they gave us some of the wine. It was lovely, very interesting experience. Let's show you the one of the elephant washing that will also give you a laugh. The llama had left at this stage, by the way. You can probably appreciate it, yeah. I'll just show you that the elephants won't take long either, if you'd like to stay for it. And if you don't, please head away.